Tell me something that's true that very few people agree with you on. And this is a fantastic interview question. It turns out to be quite a hard question. Even when people can read on the internet that you ask it of everybody who comes in the door, it still is a hard question. It's one of those unusual questions where if you know it's on the test, it's still hard. And it's hard not just because we sort of think that new things require brilliance or something like that, but because it's socially difficult. So you know, if I ask you that question, if you tell me something like the education system is screwed up or our political system doesn't work very well, those are true answers, but they're not actually good answers because all of us already know them to be true. The good answers are ones that are somehow uncomfortable, that the person interviewing you does not actually want to hear. And I think we live in this world where courage is in far shorter supply than genius.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As guys, something that's true that many people don't agree with us with is that XRP is the best digital asset ever created. XRP will be the most utilized token on the planet. And it's hard because we live in a paradigm where Bitcoin maxis feel emboldened and empowered, specifically because Bitcoin is up 58 million% since its inception. Congratulations for those who got rich in the past, but past performance does not equate to future results, and that is the mold that we have to break. See, ladies and gentlemen, I started off with that clip by Peter Thiel because right now we live in a world full of geniuses. This is the smartest humanity has ever been. The issue is that they lack courage to break the mold. Being an XRP investor is one of the hardest things to do. I believe specifically to the T. It's been exactly 4 years, 5 months, 2 weeks, 4 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 22 seconds since XRP hit its all-time high. See, ladies and gentlemen, it's hard. We're the ones that got sued by the SEC. It takes courage. The BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, called the XRP community the smartest crypto community on the planet. It's based on our education levels, but it's also based on the fact that we do the best research and we have the most open mind. Ladies and gentlemen, the combination of genius and courage is that which the XRP army has. And that is why we're going to make the biggest difference for the crypto space when everything's said and done. You see, ladies and gentlemen, over the past couple weeks, we've been suffering through having Bitcoin be the king of the crypto space. And trust me when I tell you, it's so annoying to witness everything go down because Bitcoin goes down and everything go up because Bitcoin goes up. Bitcoin being the leader of the crypto space a market does not make. But the Bitcoin maxis, they're going to be in for a rude awakening as this climate change agenda continues to accelerate. See, right here, right now, we had Chris Larsen talk about them needing to change the code, and the World Economic Forum 1 week later echoed his exact same message. These elites, their language is synchronistic and universal, and those that try to fight the world they're trying to bring are going to be left on the wrong side of the economic ladder. This is what you all need to understand. Yesterday, I discussed in my video that we were going to be in for a little dip before we finally take off, and whether or not that dip has completed itself. We are positioned correctly right before the market reverses itself, and I have to say that for those of you that are hanging on by a thread, not understanding why the market keeps dipping, just know that it's moments like this when institutions, the elite, the wealthy are accumulating, And it's moments like this that are meant to make you discouraged. You need to accumulate now. This is the best time to get into the crypto space. This is not a bear market yet. This was a nasty crash and a longer term bullish cycle specifically for altcoins. But then there's going to be a moment when things finally come crashing down. I don't believe we're there yet. We have some time left, but get your chips in a row now, because the profit taking will be upon us, and you need to have a plan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, before I continue with the rest of this video, that tomorrow I will be officially posting an interview I had with Casino Coin's very own CTO and their head of marketing. They are one of my favorite XRPL projects, and in my personal opinion, once this lawsuit is said and done especially, the entire XRP ecosystem of projects and NFTs are going to go to the moon. Casino Coin is a project that I've always believed had a lot of runway and potential to be adopted and integrated into the real world. And I believe after this interview is posted tomorrow with Casino Coin, you guys are going to see a light at the end of the tunnel for this project, and real world integrations you may not have even expected from this team. I'm extremely excited to be bringing this to all of you, and it's a great token to have on your radar. Now, all that being said, let's take you to the content for the day, as here we have two different charts. First, from the Great Depression, and now from the dot-com bubble all the way to the peak of this market. In my personal opinion, guys, I believe the greatest recession that we've seen in our lifetime is going to come. Right here, I believe we are towards the peak of the Dow Jones, but this looks similar to the moments right before the blow off the top for the Dow Jones in 1929. Guys, here's what I'm gonna say. We see the writing on the wall. They're raising interest rates. Companies are reporting horrendous numbers. Entire industries are dying. People were furloughed during this massive financial crisis in 2020. We have record unemployment, record inflation. Nothing is good. It's obvious. The only question left is when exactly is this baby gonna crash? I think it's gonna crash at some point in the August to October range. They've raised interest rates by 0.5 percentage point, the biggest hike in 2 decades. In my opinion, this is going to lead to the inevitable demise of a lot of people's retirements. The stock market and even the crypto market will have that monstrosity of a crash. They'll have a beautiful narrative to paint as the excuse for why this is happening earlier than expected. They always have an excuse, but we know it's all been predetermined. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while this is in fact the case, I do believe this short-term final run-up is going to be upon us. And here, even listen to Kevin O'Leary give his take on what the state of the stock market has for us. Please take a listen.
If you're talking about the broad index and you're looking at the potential earnings growth that is being flagged in Q3, Q4, the fact that inflation in real terms is outpacing the earnings growth that we are seeing, doesn't that worry you moving forward, that we are going to see a lot of names that are probably over-promising now and will under-deliver in the back half of the year, considering the economic tightening that we are seeing?
Yes, everything worries me. But look at the options of every investor, me included. Do I go to cash where I'm being taxed at 5% because that's the minimum inflation right now? Do I go to long bonds? Do I get the safety of the Treasury where I'm going to get killed as you know the Fed raises rates and I have to wait 10 years to get my capital back? Or do I buy the shares of a company that has some semblance of pricing power that's paying me a distribution of their profits? I think I'll take option 3 because it's the most tenable. It's the most protective of capital. Equities still perform in inflationary times because they do have pricing power. You may argue that it's not enough pricing power, but it's way better than the long bond, and it's certainly better than cash right now. Cash is really going to be taxed at a very heavy rate for the first time in 30 years. You stay in cash, you're getting 22 basis points in basically money market accounts, and inflation is 5.4%. You're losing over 5% in tax. So I don't think there's a lot of optionality here, and that's why I'm still constructive on equity.
Ladies and gentlemen, however, and keep this in your minds, while they're raising interest rates now to combat inflation, they're going to need more inflation. They cannot stop this monster that they created. While they're gradually raising rates now, there will be a moment where they bring rates down again, where things get too ugly, that they need to continue spending again. They need negative interest rates in order to bring CBDCs to the forefront. They will incentivize central bank digital currency adoption. After this financial crisis is over, they will blame this crisis on a liquidity shock. In will come in XRP as the liquidity solution. In will come central bank digital currencies, which are easily inflatable and will disincentivize cash to progressively move us into a cashless society. Guys, I've been saying this since 2019, but here looking in real time at how they're going to roll this out in 2022 is shocking. The crash will be the reason that'll make people beg for CBDCs. And like the typical problem reaction solution scenario, governments are going to create the problem to get the public reaction for the solution they want us to have. It's total control, and they're gonna get what they want. Now, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of total control, we see here that the SEC is at it again. Here, the SEC clearly has an anti-crypto obsession. Another $5.5 million lawsuit designed to chill institutional adoption as opposed to deterring fraud. The SEC has charged NVIDIA with inadequate disclosures about the impact of crypto mining. This is absolutely shocking, but yet again, regardless of how you feel about it, this is an attack on Bitcoin specifically. They're making crypto so impossible to be adopted. And if the Bitcoin maxis weren't paying attention to the SEC lawsuit against Ripple, maybe they'll begin to understand how important it is to work together as an industry now when their precious Bitcoin begins getting attacked. We are all in this together, and we need to start acting like it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, even Max Kaiser went to town on Gary Gensler the other day, and I want all of you guys to take a listen at what he had to say about the SEC, because it was pure gold.
It's a shame that Gary Gensler is such an obviously, he is a regulator who's in the pocket of Wall Street, who considers Bitcoin to be a threat. There's absolutely no question about this. The Gary Gensler is corrupt. He just talked to Jon Stewart in an interview on Jon Stewart's.
Is the SEC the best system to do this?
I think the American public kind of gets it, that the system is not fully working for them.
And Jon Stewart took Gary Gensler apart, shred by shred, and proved and showed to him in no uncertain terms that he was one of the worst and most corrupt public officials in America.
Apes exposed something really interesting. They crowdsourced a way of rooting out corruption. They found things in the system that didn't seem right, like the information that they were getting was 2 weeks old, that they weren't being told that these 140% shorts totaled that 140%. They knew there was a short, but they didn't get that information until later, and they didn't get the information to the extent of it. And doesn't that show that disclosure and transparency?
And Gary Gensler had nothing to say to defend himself because he's disgusting. But
there are real challenges. There are real challenges. Complexity helps them.
Give me a better system. Give me a better system to do this than the one we have in place. Because the one we have in place is getting its butt kicked.
it doesn't matter. I mean, it would be great to give Americans a chance to participate in Bitcoin, but if Gary Gensler wants Americans to be poor, uneducated, living in the gutter, and being killed by the ravages of inflation, that's up to Gary Gensler. He's got blood on his hands. Gary, you schmuck. Gary, you schmuck.
I believe in this system, John. I live within the system I'm in.
Dream, man, dream.
I'll dream, but I also want to get things done.
You know, with all the financial shenanigans that have gone over the years, the only person we've really brought to heel is Martha Stewart. And that's got to tell you something about just how tilted this thing is.
Forgotten a little bit about Bernie Madoff, but...
Well, speaking of Bernie Madoff, who came up with payment for order flow?
Gary, you schmuck.
Yeah.
Right.
No, this agency has to be willing to go into court and, take some losses from time to time. But go into court.
Right.
I think all of those things, but it's trying to use high-profile cases to bring folks back on the right side of the line. And also, I would say, a focus on gatekeepers. Gatekeepers, the accountants, the lawyers, the underwriters, and so forth. That sends a signal across the market, too.
Take out the little guys.
No. The gatekeepers, John.
You should just resign and give the world the benefit of not having you have a public office. You're a gross, disgusting human.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about all of you, but that was an incredible display of the perfect level of critique for the United States SEC. And what I have to say is that Jeremy Hogan posted, and I'm just reminding you that the SEC has hired 20 more lawyers and staff to, quote, crack down on crypto abuse, but failed to hire a single lawyer to draft clear regulations as to what abuse is. Ladies and gentlemen, also know that what the Bored Apes Yacht Club did the other day, in my opinion, was astonishing, was great to see, but could be an illegal securities offering. I'm not trying to talk down that community, and I'm not trying to say anything negative, but we are coming into an age where crypto regulations is going to play a massive role as to the future of what the world is going to have. And you all need to be made aware that while I do believe we have the opportunity to profit from an altcoin season, things will get nasty shortly thereafter. However, because Ripple and XRP are going through this lawsuit first, remember when Miguel Villas, formerly at Ripple, talked about Ripple perhaps becoming a lender of last resort. In connection to that, he said that there might have to be some restructuring to occur. And a lender of last resort is in effect a government guarantee to provide liquidity to financial institutions. If this were to happen, Ripple and XRP would be bigger than we all expect. And I do believe that that's the case. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while that's in your mind, keep this in your mind as well. $150+ trillion. Wrap your head around that number. That is the number ODO can be used for, tapping into these payment flows. And we have a real, legitimate shot at being a massive part of this market. And at the same time, also from Crypto Eddie, we see that Ripple is helping the South Korean government and regulatory bodies understand the benefits of XRP's on-demand liquidity. Ripple is in connection with the highest level of governments and financial institutions on the planet. And while we're still being sued by the SEC, no attention is on us by the retail investor, but all eyes are on us by massive institutions and governments. Remember the other day Jamie Dimon stated sending money to other countries with digital currencies should take seconds, not weeks. Bitcoin Magazine incorrectly states Wall Street is quietly embracing Bitcoin. In my opinion, they're quietly embracing Ripple and XRP, other payment currencies like Stellar, and interoperability tokens like Quant. Guys, speaking of Wall Street, it's located in New York. New York has been the most harsh regulatory body when it comes to crypto on the planet. New York has had quite a bad couple of years. Being a native New Yorker, I even had to leave due to the sheer mismanagement of their government. But right now, I'm beginning to get more bullish on New York because of Mayor Adams, his pro-crypto stance, and the logic and reason he's bringing back to the city. The other day, he was on a panel with Brad Garlinghouse discussing crypto, regulations, and the future of adoption. And he gave to me such a beautiful answer to a complicated question that's restoring faith in my city as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm gonna say. If he helps bring positive crypto regulation back to New York State and New York City, that is going to be one of the most bullish things that happens to the crypto industry in the United States. New York City is the financial epicenter of the United States. And the more positive government and regulations that we have coming from that state, the better for the entire industry. Keep a close eye on these comments. And keep a close eye on Mayor Adams. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Transactions, and I measure cost both by speed of transaction, cost of transaction, and we can apply technologies to improve that, but it does require that partnership that Mayor Adams was just describing, because these are regulated industries, and they should be. But that doesn't mean we have to be stuck in, kind of put our head in the sand and create more rules. And again, borrowing from what Mayor Adams said, we have to embrace. We can't be fearful of what that could look like, because I think what it looks like on the other side is a more efficient economy for the people the government's actually representing.
And there's a hidden hand in our government, the unelected decision makers, because as you dismantle the current way of doing title insurance and other things, as you dismantle that, you're going to be dismantling those industries that are eating off of this. And so when you have powerful lobbyists, you think they are saying, let's protect Americans from this new technology. No, they're protecting the interests of others from this new technology that could help Americans. And we have to be aggressive enough to point out the difference between protecting our citizenry and protecting industries that are in the way of our citizenry. And if we're not willing to do that, we are going to be left behind. No one is going to wait for America to catch up. Right.